wow, the Minnesota Timberwolves have grown up before our very eyes, led by a 22-year-old Anthony Edwards. And to be honest with you, this is not even close to the best version of Anthony Edwards we are going to see. A while ago, Minnesota seemed like a joke. And the question was, okay, Anthony Edwards is this ultra-talented player, but did he get unlucky landing with the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that has won less than 5 playoff series? Like, Minnesota's been a joke. Like, outside of Kevin Garnett carrying them to a couple playoff series wins, and Anthony Edwards winning a playoff series recently with Minnesota, like, what has Minnesota done in the postseason? Virtually nothing. Like, they've been a joke. Couldn't seem to get the coach right. Seemed to mismanage a guy like Andrew Wiggins at times. Like, it was very, very, I would say, an honest evaluation to look at Minnesota and say, man, Anthony Edwards is really talented, but can Minnesota build a championship team around him? And to Minnesota's credit, they've done just that. They've exceeded expectations so far in the Anthony Edwards era. I think Minnesota has a real head coach. Anthony Edwards, to me, looks like a future top 3 player in the NBA. One of the best two-way players in basketball. A Michael Jordan-esque dunker, I would say. I think that he's a Michael Jordan-esque dunker. You have a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, who was a former number 1 overall pick and is playing some of the best basketball of his career. It seems like Anthony Edwards has ignited confidence in guys like Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert. And it seems like Minnesota is deep, and they got 5, 6, 7 guys that they can throw at you, and they just got a really deep roster that I like a lot. I think the future is really, really bright in Minnesota. And Anthony Edwards has taken it upon himself to really ignite confidence in this team and in this organization that, hey, as long as I'm the head of the ship and you guys follow me, we're going to do great, amazing things. And I'm just going to call it right now. This could be a situation where Anthony Edwards falls into the Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, maybe Kobe Bryant category, where he could just stay with a team for his entire career. That team being Minnesota, because I think Minnesota is building something really, really special. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Minnesota. And that playoff series where Anthony Edwards, it was almost like a passing of the torch from him, from Kevin Durant to him. He was awesome, and he really stepped up versus his idol, Kevin Durant, a guy that he grew up watching and wanting to be like. And I think Anthony Edwards has arrived right on schedule. I think that he is here to stay. I think for the next 10 to 12 years, he's going to be one of the best basketball players in the entire NBA. And I think that his game will age a lot more gracefully than people will realize, because Anthony Edwards is arguably the best pure athlete in the entire NBA right now. You can definitely make that argument. LeBron, Russell Westbrook are kind of in that category as well. But also, Anthony Edwards is a true hooper. Okay, this is not a Russell Westbrook situation, at least in my opinion, where he relies so heavily on his athletic ability that once a little bit of that athleticism dips, his game has got to change dramatically. Anthony Edwards is a legitimate, dead-eye, good three-point shooter when he puts his mind to it. His jump shot is very fluid, very smooth. He's worked on it a ton, and Minnesota is no longer at the kids' table. I think that they're approaching the big boy grown-up table. This is a real contender in the Western Conference. This is a team that definitely, in my opinion, can win a championship as firmly constructed with Anthony Edwards, a real head coach, solid role players in Jaden McDaniels, a defensive player of the year award winner, Rudy Gobert. You got Karl Anthony Towns. Mike Conley is a grown-up an adult in the room, and I think that Minnesota has the draft capital to be flexible and make some moves in the future. So I think the Minnesota Timberwolves have grown up right before our own eyes. They're no longer at the kids' table. They're to be taken seriously. That playoff series win versus Phoenix, led by Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, also Bradley Beal kind of being on the side a little bit, that was a series that forever will change the trajectory of the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise, and I'm all behind Minnesota. I believe in them, and I think that they're a true contender.